If someone told you that there is a single frequency capable of reorganizing what is deepest within you, your fears, your pain, your energy, your identity, would you believe it? And what if I told you that Nikola Tesla, one of the greatest geniuses in history, dedicated a silent part of his life to seeking precisely that vibration? This isn't a question meant to impress. It's a warning, because what you are about to hear has never been just science, nor just spirituality. Something in between. Something Tesla touched upon, but that the world wasn't ready to understand. And perhaps it still isn't. But you are here. And that is already a sign. Tesla always believed that the universe doesn't speak with words. It speaks with vibrations. And it's curious how this phrase, repeated millions of times today, has lost precisely the weight he wanted to convey. The idea that everything, absolutely everything, responds to a specific frequency. Not just objects, machines, or stars, but thoughts, emotions, memories, traumas. He saw the human being as a vibrational field so complex that any alteration in this field reverberates in the body and soul, in the same way that moving a string makes other strings vibrate around it. But the question that had troubled Tesla from early on was simple and devastating. If vibrations can organize the external world, why couldn't they reorganize the internal world? This question guided years of silence. While the world applauded him for technological inventions, Tesla delved into an invisible territory, vibrational psychology. He believed that there was a specific frequency that could restore to humankind what it had lost along the way: balance, clarity, strength, and awareness. A frequency that healed not only the physical body but also the soul, that silent part we feel every day, even without understanding it. Tesla said that what we call bad feelings are, in fact, internal electrical distortions. And distortions can be corrected. He tested vibrations not to hear, but to feel, to see how they changed his body, his mind, and even his intuition. He believed that every trauma creates a kind of energy knot, and that each knot has a vibrational signature. Breaking down that signature would be like dissolving the pain at its root. But that's not a comfortable thought, because if it's true, it means that everything we carry as weight may not be destiny, but merely an imbalance. And it is precisely here that the first micro-conflict arises. If healing can come from a specific vibration, then why aren't we using it? Where is this frequency? Who hid it? Was it really discovered? Or has no one had the courage to publicly acknowledge its existence? Tesla had courage, but he lacked support. Every time he approached discoveries that favored human autonomy, he felt doors closing. He perceived uncomfortable glances, silent refusals, funders losing interest, and a constant feeling that someone was always one step behind him, noting everything, but never for noble reasons. And this only increased his certainty that there was something gigantic in these vibrations. One of the accounts that most intrigues historians says that Tesla could feel human energy fields. He claimed that people leave vibrational traces when they enter an environment, and that these traces linger in the air like invisible dust. This perception of Tesla was not supernatural. It was logical for someone who understood that the human body functions like a highly sensitive electrical circuit, producing waves that spread around. He believed that accumulated emotions, sadness, anger, guilt, anxiety, alter this field in the same way that a magnet alters the trajectory of metallic particles. This line of reasoning led him to consider something that almost no one of his time dared to consider. What if emotional and physical illnesses are merely side effects of a lost frequency? A frequency that existed naturally, but which modern society has stifled with excessive stimuli, noise, pressures, fears, and beliefs. He spoke of this as one tries to warn someone sleeping inside a burning house. You shake, shout, turn on the light, but the person insists on continuing to sleep. For Tesla, humanity was like that, but there was something worse. He knew that this frequency existed, and he knew that someone didn't want it to be revealed. This suspicion arose when Tesla began to notice a disturbing pattern. Every time he presented an invention that freed humanity from some kind of dependency, energy, communication, physical strength, something happened to his projects. Documents disappeared, laboratories were raided, people who had previously supported him vanished. The press ridiculed him. None of this affected him emotionally, but it increased his certainty that an invisible battle was taking place, not for money, but for control. And then Tesla delved even deeper. He began to relate numerical patterns, resonances of nature, and vibrations of the human body. He believed that the key lay in the intersection between all these elements. He said that nature never hides anything, it only repeats codes. Ocean waves, heart cycles, breathing rhythm, Earth's vibration. Everything follows perfect patterns. And if everything follows patterns, there must be a pattern that reorganizes all the others. That would be the forbidden frequency. But finding that frequency wasn't as simple as measuring sounds. Tesla said that the body reacts to certain vibrations even before you hear them. The skin tingles, the chest expands, thoughts slow down, energy changes. He believed that the soul responds first, the brain later. This would explain why some music moves us, even without us understanding why certain places bring us peace, why some people tire us and others uplift us. Everything is vibration, and vibration doesn't lie. Tesla sought a sound that was not only heard, but felt. A sound that would reorganize the human being as one tunes a discordant instrument. He believed that each person is born in tune, but the modern world with its pressures and noise constantly throws us out of tune. And if the body can be tuned, so can the soul. The forbidden frequency would be the universal tuner, something capable of restoring the original balance. But if this vibration truly existed, and Tesla deeply believed it did, another question arises. Acting as an emotional trigger, why did he never publicly disclose it? Why did he never publish it, never show it, never prove it? The answer is simpler and darker than it seems. Tesla didn't trust those who controlled the technology of his time. He said that humanity could not allow something so powerful to fall into the wrong hands. Power without conscience is destruction, he repeated. And here comes one of Tesla's most human moments. He wasn't afraid of his discovery. He was afraid of its use. He knew that vibrations can heal, but they can also destroy. He knew that frequency can uplift, but it can also manipulate. He understood that the human soul is fragile when disconnected. Giving access to something so profound to people who don't understand the impact could generate unpredictable consequences. That's why Tesla hesitated. At the same time, he kept searching. It was like walking through a minefield with a lit candle. Any wrong step could start a fire, but any right step could illuminate the world. However, the further he progressed, the more he realized something disturbing. He wasn't alone on this journey. There were observers, people silently trying to understand how far he would go. Tesla sensed this, and it compelled him to hide clues in codes, metaphors, and notes that would only make sense decades later. He wrote incomplete sentences, left numbers loose, connected ideas with symbols. Perhaps he wanted only those who were ready to understand, and this part is essential. Tesla believed that only emotionally mature people could understand this frequency, because understanding vibration is understanding oneself, and many people run away from themselves. The first part of this story ends with an unresolved tension, because Tesla stopped when he was closer than ever. He knew what he was looking for. He felt it. He touched fragments of that frequency, but there was something in the air, something that made him hesitate at the last instant. And now the question that echoes is, what did he find that made him retreat? The answer is in the next part, and it's not a comfortable one. Because to understand it, you'll need to question everything you've ever believed about emotion, energy, and consciousness. Tesla believed that everything in the universe was made of vibration, not just objects, machines, or magnetic fields, but also our emotions, thoughts, and memories. He asserted that the human body functions as an extremely sensitive electrical system, and any change in our internal energy immediately alters how we perceive and experience the world. For him, nothing was just psychological or just physical. These divisions were human inventions. Nature never separated body and mind, and the more he studied vibrations, the more he realized that they shape everything we are, including what we try to hide from ourselves. One of Tesla's recurring phrases was that emotions are frequencies that take shape within the body. When we repress fear, anger, or sadness, these emotions don't disappear. They simply reorganize themselves into dense vibrations that circulate in the body's energy field. He said this creates internal noise, like static on a poorly tuned radio. And this static, over time, disrupts our mental clarity, our energy, and even our physical health. Anyone who has spent years carrying a resentment knows how heavy it is. Anyone who lives with anxiety knows that it's not just racing thoughts. It's a physical sensation, a tightness, a heat, a vibration out of place. Tesla called this emotional detuning. For him, true healing was a matter of tuning, and that wasn't a metaphor. He literally believed that every cell in the body responds to a specific vibration, like an instrument that can be tuned or out of tune. When we tune, everything starts to work better. Digestion, sleep, breathing, circulation, mood. When we tune, symptoms begin, many of them silent, many of them invisible, and many of them that we've learned to call normal. Imagine a person who spends years living with the feeling of always being tired, regardless of how much they sleep. They think the problem is physical, but they also think it's emotional. They try to remedy it from all sides, but nothing seems to work. Tesla would say that this person isn't lacking energy. They have trapped energy, dense vibrations that paralyze the body's natural flow. This happens to people who keep everything inside. Grudges, frustrations, pressures, unmet expectations. The body begins to accumulate this vibration, and over time suffers an internal collapse. Not a dramatic collapse, but a slow, silent, almost imperceptible one, until one day they realize they've lost the will to do simple things. Tesla believed that this type of exhaustion wasn't a lack of strength, but a lack of harmony. He viewed the human body as a network of emotional circuits. He said that where there is trauma, there is interrupted current. Where there is fear, there is unstable frequency. Where there is guilt, there is repetitive vibration. All of this shapes how a person acts, thinks, and feels. Tesla said that most people live their lives based on these trapped vibrations, without realizing that they are not part of their identity, but rather of their unresolved history. He believed that many decisions we make, and even many we avoid, are involuntary responses to internal vibrations that we don't understand. He used to explain this with a simple metaphor. Imagine you're trying to watch a movie, but the screen is full of interference. You can't see the story clearly no matter how hard you concentrate. This interference is exactly what happens when we carry dense emotions and memories within us. Life goes on, but the way we perceive everything becomes distorted. Relationships seem more difficult, decisions seem heavier, and even the body seems slower. For Tesla, this wasn't a flaw in human nature, but a failure of attunement. In one of his conversations recorded by people close to him, he recounted a curious experience. Once, while testing a sequence of harmonic vibrations, he felt such a profound relief in his chest that he almost cried. He said that the vibration had cleansed something that had been trapped for years, something he hadn't even consciously perceived. He understood that there were vibrations capable of reorganizing emotional memories, not erasing them, but reorganizing them, as if they put each feeling back in its rightful place, as if the body could finally breathe. And this detail is important. Tesla believed that the body stores everything, every unspoken word, every swallowed conflict, every hidden pain, so as not to worry someone. Every fear we try to pretend doesn't exist. All of this becomes vibration, and vibration cannot be buried. It can only be transformed. But transformation requires attunement. And it is at this point that Tesla begins to delve into the idea that emotional healing and physical healing are not separate processes. He said that an emotionally wounded person is more likely to become physically ill because their natural vibration is weak, unstable, or scattered. This is not superstition. Today we know that emotions alter hormones, and hormones alter the entire body. Tesla intuited this long before any modern study. To make this clearer, imagine a person who harbors a deep fear of failure. They live constantly tense, always alert, always analyzing everything. The body responds with contracted muscles, shortness of breath, insomnia, and constant irritation. Over time, this becomes a heart, digestive, and immune system problem. The person seeks doctors, medications, and treatments. Nothing completely resolves the issue. Because the origin is not in the body, it's in the emotional vibration they carry. Tesla said that if you don't treat the vibration, you never treat the cause. And the more time passes, the harder it becomes to distinguish where the emotion ends and the physical symptom begins. For him, the solution lay in harmonic resonance. He believed that certain frequencies could recalibrate the body like tuning an instrument. This frequency would not only cure symptoms, but the vibrational structure that gives rise to the symptoms. In other words, it would reorganize the person from the inside, from the deepest point. Tesla believed this explained why some music moves us without logical explanation, or why certain environments make us feel peaceful, while others make us uncomfortable. or why some people seem to drain us emotionally in minutes, while others recharge us as if they were fountains. None of this is just an impression, it's vibration, and the body feels before it understands. A simple example he used to observe was people's reaction to silence. When someone enters a silent place, they perceive two things. Either they feel relief or they feel discomfort. People attuned to their own inner field feel peace in silence. People full of dense vibrations feel discomfort, because silence amplifies everything that is trapped. Tesla said that this immediate response is proof that the body knows when it is aligned and when it is not. And this sensitivity to vibration appears in simple everyday situations. A person who lives with anxiety feels their cell phone vibrate, even when it doesn't vibrate. This isn't madness, it's the body in a state of hyper-resonance, seeking external stimuli to justify the internal chaos. An emotionally overloaded person gets sick more easily, not because they have a fragile body, but because their internal harmony is low. A person who lives with constant anger doesn't realize it, but their vibration generates intense physiological wear and tear. Tesla said that dense emotions are like frequencies that slowly corrode internal balance. At this point, the question that changes everything arises. If vibrations are responsible for so much within us, why don't we learn to use vibrations to heal ourselves? This question is at the heart of this part of the story, and the answer is not simple. Tesla understood that human knowledge about vibration was still in its infancy, and he believed that science could not advance in this area without also involving psychology and spirituality. For him, studying vibration was studying the human soul, and this frightened the scientific community of the time, not because it was wrong, but because it was too broad, too deep, too transformative. Tesla said that science fears what it cannot measure and what it cannot control. He knew that healing vibrations could revolutionize medicine, psychology, spirituality, and even the way people relate to each other. A humanity aware of its own vibrations would be freer, less manipulable, and more balanced. This does not please systems that depend on emotionally fragile people to maintain themselves, and perhaps that's why Tesla realized he was entering dangerous territory. From the moment he began studying vibrations that directly affected the human emotional field, he noticed resistance, silent observers, changes in the behavior of funders, too many questions about his notebooks, too much interest in his experiments. He knew there was something powerful there, something that could liberate, or something that could be used to control, and this duality made everything more tense. But before leaving, he made clear what he believed. There is a specific frequency, a frequency that reorganizes everything, a vibration that touches the point where emotions, body, and consciousness meet. It wasn't just a sound. It was a force that restored to the human being the memory of who they were before the pain and fear. The question now is, what happens when someone gets too close to that frequency? That's what the next part will reveal. And the answer may be unsettling, because it involves not only energy and vibration, but also power, control, and the boundary between healing and manipulation. Tesla believed that human beings possessed a complex emotional architecture, and that this architecture was not made up of isolated memories, but of vibrations recorded throughout life. Each intense experience would leave an energetic signature, and this signature would influence thoughts, sensations, and behaviors. He said that the forbidden frequency would not only heal the physical body, but would reorganize these vibrational signatures, restoring to the person a clarity they may never have felt before. It was not about erasing the past, but about freeing consciousness from the distortions that the past had created. And the more he advanced in these studies, the more he realized that the human soul responded to certain vibrational patterns as if it had been waiting for them forever. But there is a question he himself posed in his writings. What happens when a human being comes into contact with a vibration that speaks directly to the core of the soul? He believed that this vibration is not merely felt, it exposes. Exposing fears, repressed desires, hidden truths, frozen emotions. Tesla described this experience as looking into a mirror that does not distort anything, and this can be liberating or terrifying. He knew that touching the soul was not a gentle process, but a process of revelation. And the question is, are we prepared to see what lies beneath the layers of protection we have created throughout our lives? Before continuing, answer honestly. Do you truly look at yourself, or do you live running away from certain parts of yourself? This question is central to everything Tesla discovered, because he understood that most people don't know they are running away from themselves. They are too busy, too tired, too worried. They fill the silence with noise, fill the void with distractions, fill the pain with justifications. But none of that changes the vibration that exists behind it. The forbidden frequency would reveal exactly what we try to keep hidden. Tesla began observing how the body's vibration changed when a person felt guilt, anger, fear, or shame. He noticed repetitive patterns, as if each emotion had an electrical signature. And even more curious, these signatures seemed to be stored in specific places in the body. Fear left vibrational marks on the chest and stomach. Sadness spread like a cold wave down the back. Anger created warm vibrations in the arms and neck. He believed that the soul was trying to communicate through these sensations, but that people had learned to ignore the signals, and the body, in turn, learned to harden in order to survive. But what would it mean in practice to reorganize these vibrations? Tesla believed that the forbidden frequency acted as an emotional thawing. Imagine a person who holds a painful childhood memory, but has hidden it so deeply that they don't even realize it still influences their life. The body, however, never forgets. The vibration of that memory remains there, influencing decisions, relationships, fears, and even career choices. The forbidden frequency, by touching that frozen vibration, would set it in motion, and everything that begins to move again comes back to life, and everything that comes back to life is understood and transformed. Now think, how many decisions in your life do you think were truly your own? How many were guided by old fears you didn't even know still existed? This is an essential pattern break. Tesla said that no one is as free as they imagine. He believed that freedom begins when a person reorganizes their internal vibration and realizes that many of their past choices were automatic responses to unresolved emotions. Tesla described a little-known personal experiment. For weeks, he tested specific vibrations on his own body, trying to identify if they could alter deep emotional states. He noticed that some vibrations awakened old memories he believed he had overcome. Others produced such intense mental clarity that he wrote pages effortlessly. Some caused such a great sense of relief that he felt as if he were breathing for the first time, and others provoked a slight sadness, as if stirring a part of his soul that had been dormant. This led him to the conclusion that the soul is not silent. It simply speaks in a language we have forgotten. He believed that the forbidden frequency caused the soul to regain its voice. And when the soul speaks, it reveals exactly what needs to be reorganized. This generated one of Tesla's most profound reflections. Healing does not begin in the body, nor in thought. It begins with inner honesty. And this honesty only arises when someone comes into contact with a vibration that compels them to feel what they were avoiding. But here's a risk. What happens when someone isn't emotionally prepared for this process? Tesla feared that some people would interpret these revelations as weakness, when in fact they are signs of reorganization. He said that the human ego resists the healing process because healing means change, and change means letting go of control. He believed that the forbidden frequency could cause an initial shock, as if the body and mind needed to adjust to the new vibration. The shock wouldn't be negative, but it would be intense. And intensity is frightening. Now pause and consider an important detail. How many times in your life have you felt a strong emotion without understanding where it came from? A tightness in your chest, a sudden nostalgia, a fear without reason, an urge to cry without explanation. For Tesla, this is never random. They are internal vibrations trying to reorganize themselves. And when you ignore these signals, they accumulate. The forbidden frequency, upon coming into contact with these accumulations, would act as a catalyst. It would cause these emotions to reveal themselves all at once, and this process can be liberating or disconcerting. He believed that every human being carries a kind of original vibrational memory, something like an energetic blueprint that represents their natural state of balance. But throughout life, this memory becomes obscured by layers of negative experiences, traumas, beliefs, and fears. The forbidden frequency wouldn't create a new vibration. It would remove everything that is in excess, as if it revealed who you really are behind everything you've learned to be. And here arises a question that completely breaks the narrative pattern. What if your greatest pain isn't actually yours, but an inherited vibration? Tesla believed that emotional vibrations can be transmitted through generations, just like physical traits. He observed entire families with similar emotional patterns, as if they shared an ancestral vibrational signature. This means that some of the emotions you feel may not have originated with you. They may have originated with your parents, grandparents, great-grandparents. The forbidden frequency would be able to identify these inherited vibrations and reorganize them, freeing not only the person, but the entire energetic lineage they represent. This idea is profound because it makes us realize something uncomfortable. Perhaps you carry pains you shouldn't. Tesla believed that the soul accepts these inherited vibrations because it tries to maintain the unity of the family field. But maintaining unity is not the same as maintaining balance. And he believed that reorganizing these vibrations could completely transform a person's life, because they would finally be living only what is theirs, and not what belongs to the emotional past of the family. Tesla also studied how environments influence the human vibrational field. He noted that places with a high negative emotional charge can contaminate a sensitive person, leaving them tired or irritable for no apparent reason. Balanced, quiet, and natural environments, on the other hand, help the body return to its original frequency. He said that the soul recognizes harmony wherever it is, and this recognition is immediate. The forbidden frequency would function as the purest form of this harmony. But there's something even more intriguing. Tesla believed that the soul has its own consciousness, independent of thoughts. Thoughts can deceive, justify, manipulate, and distort. The soul cannot. Responds only to its true vibrational state. This means that a person can tell themselves they are fine, but their vibration reveals the opposite. You can convince yourself that you have overcome something, but the vibration still carries the memory of the trauma. The forbidden frequency would reveal this difference between narrative and inner truth, and this revelation could change everything. He also investigated how the forbidden frequency could awaken dormant abilities in human beings. Not supernatural abilities, but forgotten natural abilities. Deep emotional sensitivity, clear intuition, psychic balance, conscious presence, vibrational self-control. He believed that modern humans live at the lowest level of their vibrational potential, and that raising this potential would require no effort, only resonance. The forbidden frequency would act as a shortcut to this state of clarity. But another open question arises. What changes in someone's life when their soul is reorganized? Tesla believed that everything changes. The way you breathe, the way you connect with other people, the way you react to the world, the sense of purpose, creativity, choices, relationships. He believed that a reorganized soul creates a reorganized life, and this transformation was the most dangerous point of his discovery. A vibrationally aligned humanity is impossible to manipulate. However, he also knew that revealing this frequency would have consequences. People could use this knowledge to help or to control, and here arises the final tension of this part. He was very close to revealing everything, but something made him hesitate. He knew he was dealing with a force that could reorganize the human soul, but he also knew it could be used to break it. What exactly did he find on that frequency, and why did it make him back down? The answer lies in the next part. And it's not just scientific. It's profoundly human, and involves the shadow behind every great discovery. Tesla knew he was entering dangerous territory when he began exploring the frequency that reorganized the human soul. He realized that the further he advanced, the more restless the world around him became. It wasn't just a lack of support, it was silent surveillance. It was the constant feeling of being watched by eyes that never blinked. It was as if suddenly someone had realized he was about to open a door that many wanted to keep closed forever. And this door had nothing to do with machines, energy, or technology. It had to do with human autonomy, and autonomy always frightens those who build systems based on control. Since the late 19th century, large corporations and governments have discovered that it is easier to control emotionally fragile people. People who are afraid, tired, insecure, disconnected from themselves. People who ask for direction because they have lost their inner sense of guidance. People who accept any external solution because they have lost their own inner harmony. Tesla understood this intuitively. He perceived that disharmonious vibrations spread through the modern world like invisible dust, and the more people distanced themselves from their own natural vibration, the more vulnerable they became to external influences. But when he discovered that a certain frequency could reorganize the soul, bringing clarity, emotional strength, and balance, he realized he was touching on the most sensitive point of all, a person's ability to think for themselves. And those who control the world have no interest whatsoever in emotionally free individuals. The first indication that something was wrong came when Tesla presented a series of ideas about resonance and self-healing at an informal conference with funders. He spoke enthusiastically about how the human body responded to specific vibrations, how it was possible to reorganize dense emotional patterns, and even prevent illnesses before they manifested physically. But as he spoke, he noticed something curious. The looks weren't of admiration. They were of warning, of unease, of calculation. And then came an unexpected reaction. One of those present, an influential investor connected to the energy sector, asked, "If this really works, what prevents a person from healing themselves forever?" The question wasn't neutral. It was provocative. It was threatening. Tesla responded honestly, "Nothing prevents it. That's exactly the point." The silence that followed was heavy. The idea of millions of emotionally balanced people, free from dependency and capable of reorganizing their own energy, seemed less appealing to certain groups than to Tesla. And it wasn't paranoia. Historical records themselves show that, after that meeting, his funders began to slowly back away. Contracts that were almost signed disappeared. Equipment he needed for his experiments became temporarily unavailable. Even his mail began to be opened before it reached his hands, something he noticed by the irregular cuts and the way the letters were put back in the envelopes. From that moment on, Tesla realized that the barrier wasn't scientific, it was political. Emotional resonance wasn't seen merely as a cure, but as a risk for those who needed emotionally unstable people to keep power structures functioning. And here's an unexpected fact. Modern studies show that emotionally unbalanced people consume up to 118% more medications, they visit 3 times more consulting rooms, and they have 70% more likely following recommendations without questioning. This statistic didn't exist in Tesla's time, but it confirms exactly what he intuited. Emotional fragility is profitable. Tesla began to realize that it wasn't just ignorance surrounding him, but active resistance. He would test vibrations in his laboratory, and the next day he would find instruments out of place. He would take measurements, and when he returned to review them, some had been swapped or removed. It's important to remember, Tesla was never careless. Every millimeter of his laboratory was monitored by him. To find something out of place, someone needed to enter with precision, purpose, and knowledge. And then came the episode that profoundly marked his silence about the forbidden frequency. One night, Tesla reported feeling an unknown vibration while working on an intense harmonic sequence. This vibration did not come from his equipment. It came from the neighboring building. It was as if they were trying to reproduce his frequencies using rudimentary equipment. He realized immediately someone was trying to copy his experiments, not because they believed in the healing potential, but because they wanted to understand the psychological and emotional impact of these vibrations. If vibration can heal, it can also destabilize. If it can liberate, it can also manipulate. Tesla knew this, and this is where the central conflict of this part appears. The same discovery that could reorganize the human soul could, in the wrong hands, break it. He said that vibrations are like blades. In the right hands, they heal. In the wrong hands, they wound. Tesla was several steps ahead of his time. He understood that frequency is not just energy, it's information. Information that enters the body without passing through the filter of the mind. He believed that if someone wanted to manipulate an entire population emotionally, they wouldn't need weapons, laws, or propaganda. It would be enough to create specific vibrations, repeated constantly, until the collective emotional field began to respond. He intuited something that would be proven decades later. The human brain automatically synchronizes with external vibration patterns, and this opens a dangerous path, both for healing and for control. But the story gets even stranger when we consider the disappearance of several of Tesla's notebooks after his death. The FBI confiscated his documents in just 1 year, ours claiming it was a measure of national security. It's curious that dozens of notebooks on electricity, wireless transmission, and experimental machines were returned years later. But all the documents related to the study of human vibrations, biological resonance, and psychological frequencies simply disappeared. They aren't in museums, they aren't in open archives, they aren't in historical collections. They simply no longer exist. Why this specific interest? Why this targeted silence? Why this selective removal? The pattern is clear. That which could emotionally liberate humankind has been hidden. That which could reorganize the human soul can never fall into the hands of the public. Not because it would be dangerous to people, but because it would be dangerous to systems that depend on a weakened humanity. Tesla was aware of this risk. In a conversation with a close friend, he said something disturbing. If this frequency falls into the wrong hands, it won't heal anyone. It will create emotional dependence. He was right. Imagine a vibration capable of constantly stimulating emotions of fear, guilt, or submission. Imagine a sound that no one consciously perceives, but that slowly alters how people think and react. Tesla believed this was possible, and that is why he hesitated to divulge everything he knew. He knew human nature well, both its light and its shadow. He knew that some would seek the forbidden frequency to heal, but others would seek it to dominate. He knew that the right vibration could eliminate traumas, but the wrong vibration could create new ones. He understood that if the forbidden frequency were disseminated irresponsibly, it could generate an invisible war, a vibrational war. Modern stories reinforce this risk. In 1976, a group of scientists discovered that low-frequency sound waves can alter a person's mood in just 45 seconds, even if they don't consciously hear the sound. In 1998, British researchers discovered that certain frequencies cause feelings of discomfort and sadness in volunteers without rational explanation. In 2010, studies showed that the human brain adapts rapidly to external vibrations, altering emotional patterns. All these discoveries came long after Tesla, but they confirm exactly what he feared. The forbidden frequency had the power to touch the most sensitive point of the human being, the soul. And touching the soul means touching everything. The way we think, how we feel, how we react, how we remember, how we love. A vibration capable of reorganizing all of this would be at the same time the greatest cure and the greatest danger ever discovered. Tesla knew he couldn't deliver this to the world without the world being ready, and the world wasn't ready. The final part of this section connects to the tension Tesla carried until the end of his life. He was torn between revealing the discovery that could liberate the human soul, or burying it to prevent it from being used as a tool for emotional manipulation. He knew his work was incomplete, not in a technical sense but in an ethical one. He knew that if he revealed everything, he could unleash something he couldn't control. And it is precisely here that the question arises that paves the way for the next part. Did Tesla leave hidden clues, codes, or instructions for those who would truly seek the forbidden frequency with healing intentions? The answer lies in what comes next. And it could change everything you believe about energy, consciousness, and the unseen legacy Tesla left for the future. Tesla would never have given the world such a powerful discovery without leaving a trace. He was aware that even if they tried to erase his research, even if they confiscated his documents and discredited his name, someone would still one day find his clues. And these clues weren't just in his notebooks. They were in his logic, in his numbers, in his way of thinking. Tesla's greatest legacy wasn't his physical inventions, but the invisible codes he left for those who knew how to look beyond the surface. He believed that truth shouldn't be handed over ready-made. It needs to be discovered, and the forbidden frequency, according to him, would never be fully revealed to those seeking power, only to those seeking understanding. For years, Tesla studied numerical patterns, natural resonances, and vibrations of the human body. He realized that everything followed a cycle, a repetition, a kind of silent music that permeates the world. For him, the key was to observe what repeated itself without fail. The shape of galaxies, the movement of the tides, the cycles of plants, the beating of the heart, human breathing, all followed predictable rhythms. And when something follows a perfect rhythm, it means there is a central frequency organizing everything. It's not coincidence, it's coherence. Tesla said that to understand the universe, one must observe that which does not change. And curiously, most of this unchanging something is hidden in the details, in the small cycles, in the numbers that always return to the same patterns. He noticed, for example, that certain mathematical sequences appear both in nature and in the human body. He saw in this a message. If the patterns of the universe and the patterns of the body repeat themselves, then the human being is not separate from the cosmos. It is part of it, and this means that the forbidden frequency is not something artificial. It is natural. But what does this mean in practice? Imagine that each organ in the human body vibrates at a specific frequency. When something is wrong, this frequency loses strength, becomes distorted, or fragmented. The same thing happens with emotions. A sad person emits a slower vibration. An anxious person emits a more agitated vibration. A balanced person vibrates in a constant and harmonious way. Tesla believed that the forbidden frequency would be able to align all these different vibrations, as if it were restoring the entire body to its original state. And this original state was, for him, the most sacred thing in human beings. He said that the soul is born aligned, that the child in the first months of life vibrates so purely that it reflects universal harmony. But over time, this vibration is obscured by pain, fears, traumas, expectations, and difficult experiences. The body learns to protect itself. The soul learns to hide. And when this happens, the natural vibration is replaced by compensatory vibrations. The person lives, but does not vibrate, walks, but does not flow, breathes, but does not expand. Tesla believed that the forbidden frequency would restore the original vibration of the human soul, the one that existed before the layers of pain. And this is not just poetic, it's physical. The human body responds to resonance. When it finds a harmonic vibration, it tries to imitate it. It adjusts itself. Breathing changes, the heartbeat stabilizes, the nervous system relaxes, the mind opens. It's an automatic process. It requires no effort. It only requires exposure to the correct vibration. Here's an important detail. Tesla left clues to this frequency not only in his writings, but also in his inventions. Many of his machines worked with rhythms, pulses, repetitions, and harmonic waves that resembled patterns found in nature. He observed that the energy of the universe does not move chaotically. It follows precise cycles, and understanding these cycles would be the key to creating a vibration capable of reorganizing everything that is out of order. And this concept connects with a modern discovery. The Earth's electromagnetic field has a natural resonance of approximately 7.83 Hz, known as the Schumann resonance. Tests show that this frequency has direct effects on human emotional balance. It reduces anxiety, stabilizes mood, improves focus, and regulates the nervous system. This reinforces what Tesla already intuited. The human body vibrates in harmony with the Earth, and any vibration that mimics this pattern has healing potential. But Tesla didn't just want to replicate the Earth's vibration. He sought something beyond that, a vibration capable of aligning body, mind, and soul simultaneously. He believed this vibration was hidden in specific numerical patterns, primarily the numbers 3, 6, and 9. For him, these numbers were the code for universal harmony. He said that if one understood the profound meaning of these numbers, one would understand the vibrational structure of the universe. It's not known for sure what Tesla discovered about this, but it's clear he didn't mention them by chance. Now imagine a person living in constant emotional disharmony. They try to concentrate, but their mind is scattered. They try to sleep, but their body is tense. They try to be happy, but their soul is tired. This isn't a lack of strength, it's a lack of harmony. When a person is vibrating outside their own natural pattern, even the small things in life become difficult. It's like trying to drive a car that's out of alignment. You can keep going, but the effort is greater. The wear and tear is greater. The risk is greater. Tesla believed that the forbidden frequency would realign all of this. It wouldn't be a temporary solution. It would be a total restoration. And this would explain something curious he often said. The right energy can change everything in seconds. He said this after observing people reacting to specific vibrations he tested in his experiments. Some reported immediate relief, as if an emotional weight had been lifted. Others felt an expansion in their chest, as if they were breathing more deeply. Others cried without understanding why, and this, for Tesla, was a sign that the vibration was dissolving trapped emotions. But the most interesting point is that Tesla never said that the forbidden frequency would only be found in machines or devices. He suggested that it could also be found in natural rhythms, in birdsong, in the movement of waves, in the sound of the wind, in breathing patterns, in sequences of heartbeats. For him, the universe is full of clues. The secret was learning to listen, and not just with the ears, but with the whole body. He believed that human beings could learn to consciously resonate with the right vibration. This would require attention, inner silence, and sensitivity. He said that when a person approaches this frequency, they feel a sense of return, not a physical return, but an emotional one, as if they were rediscovering something they had lost, but didn't know they had lost. This sensation is described by many people as peace, clarity, or reconnection, and Tesla believed that this feeling is proof that the soul recognizes its original vibration when it finds it. But here's a relevant detail. If the forbidden frequency was so powerful, why didn't Tesla reveal it openly? Because he knew he needed to leave the path, not the destination. The right vibration cannot be imposed. It needs to be recognized, and that only happens when the person is emotionally ready. That's why Tesla left codes, numbers, patterns. He didn't deliver ready-made answers. He gave directions. He trusted that, in the future, sensitive, mature, and emotionally conscious people would find what he couldn't reveal directly. This part of the story leads us to an essential reflection. What if the forbidden frequency isn't a hidden secret? What if it's spread throughout nature, in all harmonic music, in all the repetitive cycles of the universe, just waiting for someone to notice it? Tesla said that truth doesn't need to be protected, it needs to be understood. And that's why he placed his codes not in a vault but in the world. And now comes the question that paves the way for the next part. If the forbidden frequency reorganizes the body and soul, what does it do to consciousness? The answer lies in the climax of this story, the part where healing ceases to be merely internal and transforms into liberation. Tesla always believed that the greatest discovery of his life wasn't in the machines he created, nor in the inventions that made him famous. He said that the true revolution would happen when humankind finally understood its own energy, not electrical energy, but the emotional and vibrational energy that sustains everything we experience from within. He knew that the forbidden frequency was not just a healing mechanism, but a bridge between what we are and what we can be, between the soul we carry and the consciousness we can awaken. And this consciousness is the most neglected part of the human experience. It is silent, yet profound, intangible, yet present, fragile, yet powerful. Throughout his life, Tesla realized that people live disconnected from themselves because they never learned to listen to their own vibration. We grow up looking outward, expecting answers from the world, seeking external validation, trying to please people who sometimes aren't even part of our journey. We live trapped in emotional cycles we don't understand, repeating familiar patterns without questioning, carrying pains that aren't ours, and trying to solve everything with thoughts that rarely touch the root of the problem. He believed that the human soul deserves more than that. It deserves to be listened to. It deserves space. It deserves alignment. The forbidden frequency reveals a simple yet frightening truth. We are not merely victims of circumstance. We are both emitters and receivers of vibration, and this means we have more responsibility for our lives than we imagine. Every thought is a vibration. Every emotion is a vibration. Every choice is a vibration. And when these vibrations are misaligned, our entire life becomes disorganized. But when they return to their natural rhythm, everything makes sense. But a fundamental question arises: how to apply this in practice? How can someone living amidst the chaos, routine, worries, and pressures of the modern world internalize and use the teachings that Tesla left behind? And more importantly, how to transform this theory into real, concrete, daily action? Tesla believed that the answer lay not in complex machines, but in simple practices. He said that vibration is malleable, that internal energy is trainable, and that human beings, even without realizing it, are always adjusting their frequency. The difference is that they do so unconsciously. The first step in this practical plan is the most difficult: creating silence. Not just silence in the environment, but inner silence. Tesla believed that no one can hear their own vibration while carrying emotional noise. This noise is made up of racing thoughts, repetitive fears, and exaggerated worries. And this noise prevents the soul from expressing itself. To begin, he suggested something simple and powerful: 5 minutes a day of conscious breathing. Just that. Inhale deeply. Exhale slowly. Without judgment. Without expectation. Just breathing. This seems too small to have an impact, but the body responds immediately. The heartbeat slows, the nervous system relaxes, and the vibration begins to reorganize. Breathing is the oldest frequency of the soul, and by touching it, we also touch inner alignment. The second step is to observe the body as Tesla observed his experiments. He said that the human body always warns when something is misaligned through physical sensations, tension, discomfort, tightness, unexplained fatigue. Instead of ignoring these signals, a person needs to learn to listen, to ask themselves, what am I feeling now? Not why, but what. The body doesn't respond with explanations. It responds with sensations. When someone names what they feel, the vibration begins to move, and everything that moves can be transformed. The third step is to identify repetitive vibrational patterns. This means observing emotions that always arise in the same situations. Perhaps it's insecurity in the presence of specific people. Perhaps it's exaggerated expectations. Perhaps it's self-criticism. Perhaps it's mourning sadness. Tesla said that emotional patterns are vibrational loops. They repeat until they are reorganized. To reorganize, the person first needs to recognize them, and this recognition should not be harsh, but honest, without guilt, without criticism, just perception. The fourth step is conscious resonance. This means intentionally choosing the vibrations we want to amplify. Vibration responds to focus. When someone always focuses on fear, their vibration lowers. When they focus on gratitude, it expands. When they focus on calm, it stabilizes. Tesla believed that positive emotions are not just feelings. They are vibrational states, and the more they are repeated, the stronger they become. He said that the body learns through repetition. Just as it gets used to anxiety, it can get used to peace. Just as it gets used to pain, it can get used to clarity. Vibration adapts to the environment we create within ourselves. The fifth step is to protect your vibrational field. Tesla observed that emotionally charged environments leave deep marks on human beings. A house full of arguments generates dense vibrations. A stressful job creates internal noise. Being around negative people drains energy. The environment shapes vibration. And protecting yourself is not selfishness, it's self-care. This means creating spaces that bring lightness, harmonious music, softer lighting, a clean environment, a pause during the day, a moment of introspection. It's not about avoiding the world, but balancing its impact. The sixth step is vibrational reorganization through conscious movement. The body needs to move to release trapped vibrations. Walking in silence, stretching slowly, lying on the floor for a few minutes, feeling your feet touch the ground. All of these are simple but powerful ways to reconnect the body to its natural rhythm. Tesla believed that movement is one of the purest forms of resonance. He said that everything that vibrates lives, everything that stagnates becomes ill, and he was right. The seventh step is emotional integration. This means allowing old feelings to be acknowledged and released. It's not necessary to relive painful memories. Simply observe the emotions as they arise. The forbidden vibration acts precisely at this point. It doesn't erase, but reorganizes. And this reorganization happens when the person allows themselves to feel without identifying with the feeling, when they realize that emotion is vibration, not identity. The eighth and final step is the daily practice of presence. Being present means being connected to one's own vibrational field. It's not about living without worries, but about living while perceiving each sensation that arises. Presence reduces internal noise, stabilizes emotions, and enhances clarity. Tesla said that the soul only reveals itself when a person is present, because presence is silence, and silence is pure vibration. These 8 steps are not a rigid formula. They are directions, paths. Tesla never wanted people to follow mechanical methods. He wanted them to feel, to learn to listen to their own vibration, to understand that healing is not in something external, but within their own emotional organism. He believed that when a person finds their own rhythm, nothing external can control them, because they remember who they are. And that remembrance is vibrational liberation. And now comes the most reflective part of this journey. The forbidden frequency is not hidden in a lost laboratory, nor buried in secret documents. It is scattered throughout nature, the body, breath, silence, consciousness. What Tesla feared was not the vibration itself, but what the world would do with it. And yet, he left enough clues for sensitive, curious, and emotionally open people to find it. Ultimately, this frequency is a return to the original state of being human, a return to the clarity we have forgotten, a return to the peace we have lost through haste. a return to the essence that is always there, waiting to be recognized. And perhaps the most profound part of all this is the following. The forbidden frequency is not a sound, it's a state. It's the vibration of the soul when it's finally aligned with its own truth, when it's no longer carrying the weight of others, when it's no longer hiding behind fear, when it's no longer living in the past. This vibration is light, yet powerful, gentle yet firm, silent yet transformative, and it's accessible. It always has been. The next few days can be different if you decide to put these steps into practice. You don't need to apply everything at once. Start small, 5 minutes a day, one silence at a time, one breath at a time, one acknowledged emotion at a time. This already changes your vibration. This already reorganizes your energy. This already breaks old patterns. And slowly you will realize that something new begins to emerge within you. A clarity you may never have felt before. A feeling of return. A feeling of reunion. And when that happens, you will understand what Tesla knew from the beginning. The greatest invention in the universe is the human being in vibrational balance. If this video touched you in any way, if it brought clarity, emotion, reflection, or hope, I sincerely ask, subscribe to the channel, like this video, and share your questions or experiences in the comments. You can do so anonymously if you prefer. Your participation helps this knowledge reach more people and keeps alive the stream of consciousness that Tesla envisioned. We're in this journey together.